everyone, welcome to another mobility and meditation. Today we'll work with some basic mobility and we'll try to get through our whole body. We'll start in standing. Have something that you want to sit on for your meditation, or you might want to lie down for your meditation. But something I'll ask you to play with is a block. A foam block will work best. And I'm going to take that in between my inner legs, and you can choose to have it on its kind of thinner setting or go for the slightly wider setting. Sometimes I get a little more inner thigh press on that setting, so I'm going to choose that one. And squeeze a little bit. If you don't have a block, you can also stand with a bit of firmness through your lower body, so your lower spine is feeling a bit stable. Your buttocks is like behind you instead of tucked underneath you, and there's a little bit of support through the front of your abdomen. So finding that, and then we'll begin with some shoulder rolls. So we'll lift our shoulders up and around our ears, squeeze our shoulder blades together at the back, drag them down our back, and then open them up away from the spine. Almost like you're trying to narrow your collarbones. Do that, then lift, squeeze your shoulder blades together at your back, drag down with extra wide collarbones, and narrow. And then you can switch directions, really finding all the nuance in this movement, the sliding and gliding of your shoulder blades on your back. And then make it a little smoother. Switch directions. Nice. Then from here you can take your chin down towards your chest. Take your chin over to your right shoulder. Look all the way over to the right as far as you can. Chin more level. Then look up towards the ceiling, over to your left. Then look over to your left as far as you can. Chin down towards your chest. Chin down towards the center of your sternum. And do that again. So chin to right shoulder. Chin level. Look as far back behind you. Mark that spot on the wall. Start to look up and back to the right corner of your room. Behind you, to the left corner of your room. Chin level, look far behind you to the left. Chin down towards your left shoulder, and then chin into the center. Beautiful. Let's take our hands up, interlock them behind the back of our head. Pull skull up. And do a little bit of side bending to start. Really compressing that right side, then compressing left side. Squeeze through the block and lift up through your lower spine. Even weight in both your feet if you can. Use your breath. Connect to earth and sky. Okay, now let's pull the back of our skull up, lean our head into our hands, and then we'll look over to the right, look behind us and make a big circle. Look over to the left and then come forwards. And we're going to try to move our upper back as much as we can, but not our lower back so much. So the squeeze through the block will help. You can go the opposite direction. Come into the center. Then you can bring your elbows right together, pull up on the back of your skull, and find any amount of a back bend. Squeeze the block. Tailbone and pubic bone root to the block, feet root to the core of the earth. Lift up and over a high bar at your shoulder blades. And then come forward. So you can bend your knees a little for this. Come halfway down with your arms like this, and then push your head up into your hands and come all the way back up. So deepen your groin area, come halfway down, push your head into your hands, get long, and come all the way up. One more time, halfway down. Push pubic bone and tailbone away, lengthen pubic bone away from belly button away from collarbones. come all the way up. And then one more time, circle. And come through the center. Let's bring our elbows together this time. And then just gently let the weight of our hands curl in, chin to chest. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And come all the way up. And let your hands go wide. Now we'll turn one hand down, but turn at the shoulder, and one hand up. And look over your up hand like you're serving something up. And then switch. Look over your palm up hand. And now you can add a little bit of a rib basket slide. So you're going to go to the up hand, to your gaze, slide that way, and then to the other side, palm up, slide that way. It's like your rib cage is doing a little typewriter, old school typewriter slide, side to side. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then let your hands come down. Now, curl your chest, not so much your lower spine, right? But round your back of your chest backwards. Your head might come a bit forwards, and back so the palms face back. And then arch your upper chest, palms face forwards, and push your chest forwards. Round your chest back, push your chest forwards, back, forwards. All right, now let's do a circle through our rib cage. And actually, we're gonna take this block out if you have it. Ooh, interesting. And then take it in between your hands, pull it apart, and take that up above your head. Straighten your arms as best you can, and then do a rib cage circle. One way, and then the other. Now, if you want to, you can add a little forwards and back movement with your block. So there's a little side bend in there, back bend, side bend, forward fold, around the world. Switch directions. Now, if you want, squeeze your block with your hands. So instead of pulling it, this makes it a lot harder for me. But I like the after effects, so I'm gonna go for it. Squeeze the block, squeeze your biceps around your ears for 5, switch directions. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reach high, let it go. You can take your block down. Let's come to the top of our mat. Inhale, arms high. Forward fold. Long spine. Downward dog. And from downward dog, come down to your knees. Sit back on your heels. You can always put a block in between your heels and your seat. Hands forwards. Walk your hands forwards enough that you have a little bit of space to do the rib cage circles with your hips really fixed. And you might not get as much movement through your hips, but you might get a little more interesting movement and connection to your rib basket here. You can switch directions. Nice. All right, let's come on up to tabletop. Press into your hands, start to circle around your wrists. Cat-cow with your shins directly behind your knees. So finding the cat-cow movement. Sometimes I like to do this segmentally, so it's like I'm flicking a whip from my tailbone. So my pelvis tips, then my low back, mid back, upper back, kind of segmentally through the spine, then my tailbone tucks, low back rounds, mid back, upper back, head. So it's almost like you're kind of flicking a rope or a whip, and it's like going all the way. Maybe a rope is better than a whip to your head. Okay, let's try that with a little different orientation of our legs. So let's walk our feet really extra wide, but our knees close together. If you want a little more juju, you can squeeze the block. Big internal rotation through your legs as much as you can. And then try the cat-cow, or the flicking of the rope. Interesting. Really work that internal rotation of the legs. Mobilizing through the spine. Interesting. Come to neutral. Let's switch it up. So now we're going to take our feet together and our knees really wide. I might even take my knees off of my mat. Walk in and then do that cat-cow movement with external rotation through legs. And see how it's different. Where do you get more movement? Where do you get a little less movement? And there are no wrong movements. There are just places to bring our mindful attention to. And places we might be able to refine so that they feel more fluid. Okay, then we'll bring our knees in. You might sit back on your heels, interlock your hands, and give yourself a little figure eight through your wrists. You can take the backs of your knuckles together, make a fist, press your knuckles in towards each other like you're really rounding the backs of your wrists towards each other, and then press that away from you. You might get a bit of a stretch through the top of your wrist. Breath in and out. Love that one. Shake it out. Let's come into a downward facing dog. There, and then internally rotate your legs as much as you can. So heels out, toes in. You might make your dog a little shorter between your hands and your feet. Feel that. You can take your left leg high in that internal rotation. Take it up as high as you want to on your mat and really internally rotate it. Really press your heels out, your toes in, and then push your hips back. Don't worry about what it looks like. Explore it. Maybe foreign. Right leg up in that internal rotation. Toes in, heels out. Take it high up and then push back into your hips. A lot of weight in your hands, almost like you could take your hands off, or feet, almost like you could take your hands off. And then big internal rotation back. Switch it. Externally rotate. So heels together, toes out. It's like first position, right? If you're ever a dancer, I wasn't. Wish I was. So heels together, feet wide. Press your hips back and see how that feels. And it could be like a little triangle, or it could be like really opening up the angle. And then left leg up in that external rotation. Bring it forwards, push back into your hips, maybe coming up onto your fingertips. And feel that. Back into that externally rotated dog. Right leg up and forwards. Push back in. Back into your more symmetrical dog. Take your knees to the floor. You can sit back on your heels or sit cross-legged, whatever's comfortable. Circle out your wrists in that figure eight. Try to go the other direction. That's a little foreign for you. Leading with the other hand. Backs of the knuckles towards each other. Trying to even curl the wrists in towards each other. Press that away from you. Shake it out. Downward dog. Let's take our left leg up, left knee bends, and then circle. Big circle through your hip. One direction and then the other. And then let's take that that bent knee really into internal rotation until your left toes tuck to the mat. And then can you come up into a side plank variation and then really externally rotate your legs. You're kind of looking under your armpit and your knee goes high like a three-legged dog. And then you can take that behind you and open up, carve your right shoulder blade down your back and away from your spine, all the way back into down dog. Left leg up, bend your knee, circle one way and then the other. And then big internal rotation, tuck toes, open it up. And then big external rotation, three-legged dog. Tip it over, take that foot behind you. Open up your left shoulder blade away from your spine. Downward facing dog. Come down onto your knees, sit back on your heels. Figure eight, get into your wrists. This time pull your right thumb back, pull open the webbing in between your index finger and your thumb. Close that up like you have a little conch shell. Left thumb back. And this is the conch mudra for listening. Okay. Hands to the earth. And tuck toes back into downward facing dog. Take your left foot halfway forwards. And then start to circle your right ankle. And you can kind of like really carve out that movement and make contact with the floor. Big movement through the ankle. And press back into a downward facing dog with your left foot halfway up. You can start to straighten your leg any amount. Rebend it. Step it back, right leg forwards, and start to create a big circle through your left ankle. You can switch directions. And then press back into your down dog, straighten your right leg any amount. Rebend it, and press back, downward facing dog. Breath in. Breath out. And just come down to your knees. Tabletop again. Press into your finger pads and the knuckles under your fingers. And it's a closed chain shoulder roll. So coming back to those shoulder rolls. So really narrowing your collarbones, pushing the ground away, lifting your shoulders up, squeezing your shoulder blades together, dragging them down your back. Little crunchies in there maybe, and pressing them away. And kind of isolate each one of those movements and try not to bend your elbows because you're going to get a little more into your shoulder blades when you don't bend your elbows. You can switch directions. Feel the weirdness of learning new things. I've started to really love that, becoming anew through learning something new. Okay, you can shake out through your hands there, come down onto your forearms, and we'll do the same thing, a little bit more fixed here. So we'll narrow your collarbones, lift, squeeze shoulder blades, drag them down your back, and find those shoulder rolls. Try not to let your spine get too slinky here, so a little steady through your spine. Switch directions, that feels extra weird for me and kind of hard. All right, and then you can let your head hang, lift the space in between your shoulder blades and wrap your shoulder blades around towards your armpits. Tuck your toes, come on up towards a forearm dog. Maybe your knees are bent, maybe your legs are a little straighter. Let's take 5 long breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come down to your knees. You can widen your elbows, stack your hands, take your forehead down, take a breath. Emptiness at the space in between your eyebrows. Roll on up. Come onto your back. So if you can reach your hands behind your leg, go for that. You might also want to use a strap or something to hold your leg. And then try not to move your upper thigh bone. So take a look at it where your knee is. And we're going to describe an oval with our lower leg. So you're going to take it out to the right without turning your upper leg bone, but your knee has some rotation at the knee. So take it to your left. So creating a bit of space around your knee, describing an oval with your big toe. And you can also have your left leg planted or long here. You can take your right thigh bone as close in towards you as you like. Thank you to Carrie or go for some of these mobility exercises. You're the queen. One of my teachers teaching me how to create more space at the knee and encourage this healthy rotation at the knee. You can switch directions. And active feet. And then hands can go down, press down through your hands. You can straighten your leg any amount and then make big circle through your leg, as big as you like. Could be smaller, big for you. Switch directions, kick things over, let it be satisfying. Hit the wall. And then melt it into a Shavasana, palms up. Close your eyes, emptiness at the space in between your eyebrows. And let your eyes open if they're closed. See from the back of your head. And we'll switch sides. So you can bring your left leg in as much, hold it with a strap or hold it with your hands. Describe that oval. Rotation at the knee. Can straighten your right leg out. Can switch directions. Try not to move your thigh, so fix it with your hands. Okay, let that go. Straighten your leg any amount. Make a big circle. You might think about gluing down the center of the back of your sacrum to the floor. Excuse me. And then melt. If your palms were down, you can turn them up. Space at the center of your eyebrows. And you can take your hands to your temples and your forehead and draw some long, smooth lines, some circles. And get your scalp moving on your skull. If you want, put your hands around your scalp and get a bit of movement of the fascia there, making a little bit more space. You can massage the back of your skull, the two knobby bits, the occipital ridge. Might close your eyes and pinch your eyebrows and pull the fascia on your eyebrows up and away from the ridge of your brow. again to the temples. Okay, you're welcome to stay on your back, or you can roll on up for your meditation. You might put your legs up the wall. You might sit. I learned this meditation from Adrienne Marie Brown. Thank you, Adrienne. And we'll bring dimension to our body and our spirit. And you can close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or settle your eyes somewhere where they're not moving. And exhale. Now the first line we'll look at is top to bottom. So finding your length of your spine, your head moving up towards the sky, your pelvis moving down towards the core of the earth, feeling gravity and the lifting away from that, the rebound force. And this is your dignity, getting taller. And you don't have to go forwards to get taller. So try to get taller through the back and the front of your spine, through the left and the right side. Letting your central axis feel hollow. Connecting to sky and earth. And then the next place we'll look at is width. So left to right, side to side. So finding space away from your spine, your left lung away from your spine, your right lung away from your spine, your liver to the right, your pancreas to the left. Your left and right hip broadening. And your width is your relationality to your community comes with that width going left to right. Connecting to others. Being seen, being heard. And then we'll go front to back. And we'll start with our front, kind of our connection to our front body, that you might feel the air in your space touching your face, your chest. We often relate to our heart at the front, but it also has a back. The front of your abdomen. This is our connection to future, to what we hold in our values, what we hope for, what we protect. If we tend to bear down through the front of our abdomen, can we let that go for a moment, any amount? And then moving into our back, a place that might sometimes be forgotten. It's our past, There's a back of our heart, metaphorically, where we might love ourselves. And opening the back of your lungs to the back space. And breathing into your lower back, sacrum, the back of your skull. And maybe even imagining that your eyes come out of the back of your head. So there's a quieter space of the eyes. And letting your presence be in your back instead of your front. Just a little bit removed. So some equanimity in between you and what's in front of you. And lastly, really coming back to that vertical central channel and going down, really down into the foundation of your legs if you feel safe with it, going down into the floor of your pelvis. You might even put your hands underneath your belly button and let your presence drop. Like a tree in the winter where the energy is all in the roots preparing for the bloom. And let your breath be there for the last few moments. And checking in if you feel any more centered. You might take your hands together at your heart or keep them there at your abdomen and thank your body for doing its thing for another day. I wish you peace. Shanti.